So, Blue Exorcist Season 2, Episode 5 has finally come out. And for many viewers out there, this is probably where, if you're still watching this series, you're probably going to be like, okay, I like where this is going. Where is the build-up? And I'm like, well, technically, episodes 1 through 5 have technically been built up. But episode 5 is really when we see things actually getting started, where we will most likely see the action go down in this arc. And I'm pretty sure everyone wants to see the actual action go down in this arc because, to be honest with you, it's pretty hype. I just hope that they don't really end it off like that. That would suck. But anyway, I'm getting off topic right here. So, what happens in this episode of Blue Exorcist? So, basically, what goes on in this episode is we figure out what exactly goes down with the Impure King. We know that, the girl, I can't remember her name, from episode 4, technically made a pact with Toto, and both of them have stolen the eyes of the Impure King. So when we go to this episode, we know that Toto now has the left eye of the Impure King and the right eye. And when the two end up combining with each other, they release a nauseous gas that can, or poisonous gas that can basically kill a lot of people. The toxin that this thing, the eyes spread about, it really can kill people in an instant. That's how powerful the toxin is. And if this gets in the wrong hands, many people can die. And technically, the eyes have already been stolen. So things are already in a dire situation as it is. But we know exactly that that's not the reason Toto got the eyes of the Impure King. Because while they do release a toxic gas, we know for a fact, and I said this, in my other, episode review of Blue Exorcist, I think in the second episode, I basically said that we will eventually see the resurrection of the Impure King. And honestly, it's pretty obvious. So most likely we will see that next episode. But anyway, we also get to see that the Koma Sword, Rin's sword that he uses in his battle, when he unleashes it, how he becomes, a full-on demon, technically, all of his power ends up coming out. He is trying to control his power, what we have seen in these past few episodes, but it's more so the training that he goes through in order to control his blue flames, for the sense of not hurting anyone. And also, it's also to bring about, more energy for him rather than relying on the Koma Sword. But anyway, we find out that the Koma Sword is actually from the Sugoru Temple. So it was actually passed down from generation in generation in generation from Sugoru's, forefathers, so to speak. And it was also passed down to Sugoru's father at a time. And we see that this demon ends up crashing down. When we get to see the backstory with Sugoru's father, this giant bird-like demon just crashes down on the ground. And all of a sudden, you see Father Fujimoto, which is Rin's adoptive father, gets that freaking Spaz 12 shotgun and freaking just bam, 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 bam. Goddamn. Wow, that was very cringy. But anyway, this dude ends up taking out a Spaz 12 and freaking putting lead one after another on this bird-like demon. And of course, it's not your typical, bullets, because after all, this is Blue Exorcist. So it's not your typical bullets, it's more so exorcist bullets, which actually suppress demons and I think it's honestly a suppressant. It's not really something that they can kill a demon, but more so suppress them so that way they can capture them. I could be completely wrong on that, but anyway, think of Rin's brother's guns on how he takes out demons with his exorcist bullets. Think about that. That's basically what it was. But we see that Fujimoto ended up stealing the Koma Sword, so to speak. And this was very interesting because we do know that the Suguru Temple has actually, had the Koma Sword for so long, and Fujimoto was actually the one who stole it, and Fujimoto was also the one to give this sword to Rin. So basically, Fujimoto knew about this sword from the Suguru Temple. He found out its location, he knows what the Koma Sword is, and he bestowed it upon Rin in the first season of Blue Exorcist. So it was kind of cool seeing that little backstory there. Now, when we revert to the other part of the episode, we have it to where Rin is in a cellar. Rin's in a cellar because he acted out in front of the Suguru Temple's members and also lashed out on Suguru. So Rin has no possible way on how he can get out, and also he doesn't really know when he's going to be able to get out. We see that Shura ends up coming to his cell, basically, pep talking him, that he's a complete idiot. His brother ends up arriving at the cellar to Rin, and we know that he is fed up of Rin actually, getting his emotions the better of him, because the fact is that if he does, he will act out accordingly to bring out his inner demons. And of course, if he does that, if he does let his emotions get the better of him, he can end up hurting people in the process, because we seen in season 1 that Rin can't really control his powers when he gets his emotions the better of him. So that's why we're seeing in season 2, in this arc, that Rin is trying to control his powers. So of course, his brother is completely pissed at this, because Rin has technically been doing this since the beginning of season 1. He lets his emotions get the better of him, so of course Rin is going to be scolded by his brother. Now, apparently, Shura ends up giving a message to Rin, and they don't really know who it's from at first. They open up the letter. They do recognize that it is from Suguru's father. However, the funny thing is about this is that when Rin is trying to read the letter, he's like, "Oh, nanahodo. Oh, I see. I can't read it." I thought that was one of the funniest parts of the episode. And Shura's like, "What the fuck? You can't read it? Give me that." And she's like, "Ha! I can't read this either." And of course, Rin's brother can read it because, he's intelligent, So he can read this cursive writing. And we basically find out the true reason as to why Suguru's father has been acting the way he has been acting. And many people would assume that right off the bat that Suguru's father, was actually, the traitor in the Suguru Temple, because of the fact that he barely shows up. It seems like he does not care. So it would make it completely obvious that he was in a pact with Toto. So that's why many of the people within the Suguru Temple, and maybe even some viewers, actually thought that Suguru's father was actually the traitor, because, he is sticking away from the temple, he's not really being a priest for the temple, so to speak, as the leader of the temple. He's not. But the real reason is that he's been keeping secrets from the members of the temple, and also from his son as well. We even saw in the previous episode that when Suguru, his father, was telling Suguru that it's a secret, I can't tell you this. Of course, Suguru gets mad at this because, I'm your own son. Why won't you tell me this? But we eventually figure out, by the later part of this episode, through that letter, that Suguru's father has been doing this for the greater good, so to speak. He knows the corruption that is going down within the Suguru Temple, and he has technically been keeping an eye on things, and he knows if he ends up telling people, then it could technically ruin the reputation of the Suguru Temple, even of it in itself. And also, if he were to tell his son would obviously probably tell the other members, so that way they can save his father, and also things would just not look too good. There will be a lot of conflict, so Suguru's father has been keeping secrets away from Suguru and also the Suguru Temple's members as well. And he entrusts Rin to actually be a good friend to him and take care of Suguru. He's like, whether I live or die, I just want you to try to take care of Suguru the best you can. I know that you are friends, so please, I trust you with this. So that is basically where the episode ends, and we see that, Suguru's father is running off to deal with Todo. So by the next episode, we're going to see the conflict actually arise as, we will see Todo and Suguru's father lash it out with one another. But as far as what goes down from there on out, that is until the next episode of Blue Exorcist. But yeah, I really thought that this episode was pretty good. I mean, a lot of people, probably thought that Suguru's father was, the real traitor behind everything just because of the fact that it made it completely obvious that he was the traitor. But we come to find out that that wasn't the case, okay, from last week's episode. So that's probably what threw people off in the first place. But nonetheless, this was a good episode because this is where we're gonna end up seeing, things really get up to speed when it comes to the action. And I know a lot of people are actually looking for the action in this episode, or excuse me, this arc. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see for the future episodes. And I really can't wait. I really can't wait either, because I'm actually really wondering on how they are actually going to animate the fights, because definitely, like, these fights in this arc, while I would say that the arc doesn't last that long, so maybe they will wrap up things quickly, maybe, hopefully not, but when it comes to the action in this arc is actually pretty good. I'm not going to lie. So we'll just have to wait to see, how this series ends, and also what comes in the coming episodes to come. But so far, I think they're doing a pretty good job. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on what you guys thought about this episode. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And I think that's about it. Jeez, I'm stuttering way too much today. What is wrong with me? I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.